The delivery should sunset, Haytona roared excitedly, swinging the massive spiked mace high with both hands. A fervent smile spread across his face as he put all his strength into bringing it down upon the stone orb on the table. A earth-shattering bang echoed. The orb shattered, but not as Haytona had intended. Instead of rubble, a blinding burst of energy unexpectedly erupted from its core. Haytona froze, the smile on his face hardening into an expression of utter astonishment. Huh? Before he could regain his senses, the fierce light engulfed him. Ah! Haytona only managed to cry pain before being flung away. Immediately, Daytona, who was standing nearby, screamed in horror upon seeing his twin in danger. Daytona! Ah! He had no time to react further before the shock wave from the explosion hit him. Daytona only managed to call out, Jin! Jin, standing nearby and completely focused on his training, instinctively turned to look. A resounding bang, dazzling white light burst violently before the transparent stone shattered into fragments. Jin staggered back, a painful groan escaping through his clenched teeth as he clutched the hand that had just struck. Seeing this, Haytona rushed over in a panic, his face clearly showing worry. "Little brother, are you all right? I didn't mean to." Jin snapped, his face contorted in pain and annoyance. "I'm fine, so can you go do that somewhere else?" "Yes, I'm sorry," Haytona mumbled, trudging back. From another corner of the training ground, Jin quietly observed, lost in his own thoughts. "It's been about a month since I started training with these transparent stones, and my brothers have also started making them explode. I thought it would take much longer." Suddenly, a strange sensation ran through Jin's body, making him shiver slightly. But what was that feeling I just sensed? A panicked voice called his name, Jin. Immediately, the image of a sharp arrow flying straight towards him appeared clearly. It's drawn too clearly, like the trajectory of an incoming arrow. Now, if those iron particles appear... The delivery should talk to himself with certainty. If it charges at me again, I'll definitely dodge it. A familiar sensation suddenly flashed in his mind, causing his azure eyes to reflect contemplation. Could this feeling be related to the training session with Sister Luna? The image of his elder sister with long, flowing hair, standing in the vast hall, briefly appeared in his memory. Determined not to let this precious sensation fade, Jin gripped his sword tightly, his gaze resolute. Then, before I forget this feeling, just one more time. Just as he took his stance, preparing for the next practice round, a commanding, sharp voice suddenly rang out, breaking his concentration. Zed Runcandel spoke distinctly. "Focus. You have been assigned a mission." Haytona muttered with a look of horror. "An event in the Bement Empire again?" Haytona groaned, holding his head. "I'm already nauseous and exhausted. I hate formal attire. It's so stuffy." Standing nearby, Zed Runcandel coldly flipped through the book in his hand, his voice devoid of emotion. "My condolences, my grandchildren. Thanks to you, your other siblings won't have to dance at the imperial party." Hearing this, Jin let out a faint sigh of frustration. Immediately, a chilling aura enveloped the space. He growled, "But even if it's an event, you dare sigh while on duty? Display that attitude again, and I'll make sure you'd rather die." Faced with the sudden rage, Daytona and Haytona turned pale with fear, quickly stammering, "Sorry, uncle." Jin remained silent, a thought fleetingly crossing his mind. Mayu and Anne are truly malicious, punishing their foolish younger brothers by sending them to a social event in the Bement Empire. Zed retracted his killing intent, his tone returning to its usual authoritative manner. "This is a grand event that even the Runcandel family finds hard to refuse. Other powerful individuals will attend for entertainment. Go and observe carefully, as you might learn a thing or two from them." The twins bowed their heads obediently. "Yes, sir." Zed's gaze then shifted, settling on Jin. "And you, the youngest, too."
The Zed Runcandel bowed respectfully, his voice calm. "Yes, uncle." Zed looked up from the documents, his sharp gaze from his single eye sweeping over Jin before pausing briefly to consider. Haytona stood behind Jin, his face immediately stunned upon hearing the next words. Zed spoke in a steady voice. "The mission assigned to you, is a high-level assassination. The target is Talaris, the Ice Palace Master's plaything. In other words, she's one of her lovers." He subtly curled his lips, his gaze probing. "You know about the Ice Palace and its master, don't you?" "Yes," Jin replied succinctly, without a hint of hesitation. The image of the Ice Palace immediately appeared in his mind, a colossal tower standing isolated in the continent's western sea, encased in sharp ice blocks, emitting a bone-chilling cold. The master of that tower, known as the Ice Palace Master, was Talaris and Daytona, the 51st successor. On a shimmering throne carved from pure ice crystals, a majestic figure reigned. Talaris, nicknamed Spider of the Abyss, was notoriously ruthless towards anyone who dared to touch her lovers.
The Ice Palace is an independent power beyond the influence of Runcandel and Zippel. You all must understand how powerful the Ice Palace and its master are, right? Zed held up a dossier which contained a portrait of a man. The target's name is Alcaro Chenderer. Currently, he is being escorted by the Ice Palace's people and hiding in the lawless region of Mamit. As soon as they heard the name Mamit, Daytona and Haytona simultaneously gaped in astonishment, shouting almost at the same time, "What? Mamit?" Daytona, with a panicked expression, hurriedly spoke. "If it's in Mamit, they'll have to face the Guardian Knights. Uncle, I have a question. Isn't this too much, even if the youngest is very skilled?" Amidst his older brother's confusion, Jin remained unusually calm. He just quietly raised his hand. Zed looked down, his voice unchanged. "The client is the Chenderer family." Jin mused, one hand propping up his chin in thought. Did the Chenderer family ask to kill their own son? A faint smile appeared on Zed's resolute face as he crossed his arms over his chest. He admitted, "That's right. It seems they tried everything to bring him back, but all failed. They must have decided it's better for him to die than for the family's secrets to be exposed. What do you think of this mission? Can you do it?" The delivery should stood tall, his gaze unwavering. "I will do it." This unhesitating acceptance momentarily stunned Zed. He narrowed one sharp eye, thinking the boy must surely know about the master of the Ice Palace and the dangers of the Mamit region, yet he still accepted? Initially, he had intended to speak to the guard escort if Jin complained about the task's absurdity, but now, a smile briefly appeared on Zed's stern face. "Ha! Very good. I like your directness," he said, his voice tinged with satisfaction. Crossing his arms, he commanded, "In 2 days, the 3 of you will set off." Hearing this, Haytona, standing behind Jin, couldn't help but exclaim in dismay, "Uncle, is Jin really going to Mamit?" Zed coldly responded to his nephew's concern. "He volunteered himself, so I have no reason to stop him. Until the mission is completed, the afternoon training session will be canceled. Ensure that your personal training does not interfere with the mission." Daytona and Haytona, though filled with surprise and worry, could only reluctantly bow their heads in compliance. "Yes, yes, uncle." Daytona suddenly called out, "Hey, Jin, youngest!" Still examining something, Jin merely glanced indifferently over his shoulder, replying curtly, "What?" Haytona hesitated. Then, as if mustering all his courage, he loudly declared, "If needed, just say you're a Runcandel." Daytona, grinning widely, eagerly chimed in, "That's right, then no one would dare mess with you." Jin briefly glanced at his 2 brothers, a flicker of surprise in his eyes. "How surprising! You 2 also know how to worry about me." Jin's words seemed to hit a nerve. Haytona immediately flinched, stammering in denial. Who cares about you? That's right, we're saying this so you don't die early, because we're the ones who have to defeat you." Jin didn't bother turning back, his steady figure walking away as his calm voice resonated. "Brothers, until I return, make a firm decision." Suddenly, Jin stopped. He raised a metal orb. Daytona and Haytona froze, sensing impending doom. Haytona shrieked in panic, "Ah, it's about to explode now!" A swish sound echoed, a blue stream of energy flashed and then vanished. The twins stood speechless, eyes wide with astonishment. The delivery she casually spoke, his tone both an idle question and a challenge. "Do you prefer the older girls or do you prefer me?" The sudden question stunned both Daytona and Haytona, their faces blank with extreme confusion as they exclaimed, "What?" and utter surprise at the youngest's audacity. Without waiting for an answer, Zen added, "As this youngest one has said, both of you should prepare, and until you are strong enough, never resist him." When Jin was out of sight, Zed turned to face the steel-stunned twins. A mysterious and cold smile slowly appeared on his stern face. He slowly added, his voice deep and weighty, "If you still wish to live a long life." 2 days later, in the large courtyard before the family's main gate, beneath the majestic sword emblem, a group of guards stood in neat rows. One of them stepped forward, respectfully asking Jin, who was preparing to depart, "Young master, are you planning to go to Mamit, the lawless zone?" Standing beside his companions, Jin replied with a single word, his gaze unwavering, "Yes." The brilliant morning sun bathed the entire space in gold. A voice rose directed at Jin with a hint of concern. "But, young master, your hair color." Jin let out a soft "ah," a confident half-smile gracing his lips. He explained clearly while the other person remained bewildered. "I'm in disguise. I can't reveal my identity as a Runcandel. So, my mission is different from everyone else's, which means I need to go through a different warp gate and also complete immigration procedures." Jin asked Mesa, "Your mission is a conquest mission, isn't it?" Mesa, with her striking pink hair, replied decisively, "Yes." Jin turned to Mesa and Belop, his eyes narrowing slightly as he noticed the gloom covering their faces. "You too look so grim. Is something wrong?" Mesa replied, her voice even but unable to hide her worry. "It's nothing. We just came to say goodbye to you before we leave." "Goodbye? This won't be the last time we meet," Jin said, his voice full of certainty. Belop, usually carefree, now had a serious expression. He continued, his voice dropping, "Well, if we're unlucky, one of us might die." Jin calmly interrupted, his gaze firm as he looked directly at his teammates. "But worrying won't change anything, will it? So, everyone, focus on your assigned mission. I will definitely return, so don't injure yourselves due to baseless worries." The delivery golden sun said. Belop Schmitz bowed his head, look of concern yet profound respect on his face. "Yes, young master, please be careful." Jin patted his hand reassuringly and then turned away. "All right, see you later." He looked at Gilly, then smiled and said to Murakon, who was in his black cat form, "I've acquired some rather cute people, haven't I, right? So take good care of them." The black cat raised his head, looking utterly self-satisfied under the enchanting moonlight. "Don't worry, this body is the great black dragon. As for you, don't get caught or act too conspicuously." Hearing the instructions, Murakon the cat grumbled, "Damn it, this annoying brat. You're the one who needs to be careful not to get caught. Don't rely on your disguise and be careless." Hit where it hurt, Murakon bristled, snarled, "I'm leaving," then sulkily turned and walked away while Jin casually waved goodbye. Jin looked at Gilly and said, "Sir Murakon isn't here either. It will probably be quiet for a while. Just consider this a vacation, Gilly. I'll bring you a gift when I return." However, Gilly could not feel at ease. She clasped her hands to her chest, her eyes filled with worry. "But you're about to assassinate the lover of the Ice Palace Lord. I'm truly very worried. I know young master is no ordinary apprentice, but Mamit is a very dangerous place." The delivery's gentle voice filled with worry rang out, "So, young master, please take care of yourself." From atop his horse, Zed Runcandel replied briefly but resolutely, his voice firm like a solid promise, "I will." Finishing his words, he turned his head back, his black hair gently swaying in the wind. Beneath the glorious evening glow, his blue eyes shone with resolve, and a confident smile bloomed on his lips. "Well then, I'm off."